accept them as written.
Seconded.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. I spoke with Ken about some of the issues about Prospect Farm, and because of he's been under the weather, he's been unable to follow up on any of those with the Forest Service regarding the gate. So, nothing new there. I have not, I need to reach out to, see when mowing is gonna happen, and if we can try to coordinate either doing some view cutting then, or either coordinating with Jackson's Key Touring, which probably be October or November.
Maybe later.
To get that, just so we can keep on top of them. It is growing in quite a bit, especially the Halls Ledge, where it's obvious it's creeping back in, but just something to
Overlook.
yeah. Well, both of them, the
Yeah.
Halls Ledge overlook, where I guess there's picnic benches at both of them. But,
Yeah.
was up there. It's fine if you're on the trail looking out, but if you go down any further, then it's,
Right,
the view is blocked in, and it's all very young, dense growth. So I don't think it would take all of that much to clear.
I think last time that was done on any scale, I think maybe, I don't know if Don Johnson and his guys kept that open.
I assume it was just the original cut that made the opening, and it hasn't been cut since then.
Really? Yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go down and inspect, but it looked probably like 5 or 10 years worth of growth. So
Yeah. I'm guessing 10,
Yeah.
at least.
Okay. So I guess we can move on to Jackson Falls. I went to the select board meeting. They okayed, I don't know what the wording of that would be, but they authorized us to accept a picnic table, the gift of a picnic table from Don Bilger, which is now currently at the lower section, or at the lowest. Well, it just replaced the one that came out.
Yeah.
I went back and looked at our vote that we took after our meeting with the Jackson Falls Committee, or Save Jackson Falls Committee, and their recommendation was to keep them. Our vote was to keep them for the time being, but to look forward to replacing them with either a bench or just removing them entirely in the future. And I think that lower section is a good candidate to remove, just because there does need to be a little bit more of intensive replanting there, just because
It's beat.
yeah, the runoff from the road, like that just,
Yeah. It was just,
I kind of think that whole section could use a bunch of work,
yeah.
of varying, and it could go different ways.
Yeah.
You know, like the staircase and the riprap right there. I think
Right.
then like a road below it onto the falls. So I think ultimately we either need to carry the staircase all the way down to the falls themselves. So if people park there, they have a staircase that gets them from the parking lot to the falls, or otherwise deal with that runoff that's eroding right there.
Yeah.
right, and you can see where it's, it's scooping out. And either the combination of that, or it seems like the obvious, easiest place to step down in where it's wearing out. So I think that's,
Yeah. Yeah, like how to combine having a durable surface and an erosion path, or
Yeah.
like a water path.
Yeah.
And I was pleased to see that just below the picnic table, I was thinking it was your spot.
Oh, yeah.
Because people were you come down that staircase and it's kind of the eroded spot to the falls is to the left, the picnic table straight ahead of you, and then to the right there used to be a trail that kind of like ran all the way down the falls right next to the road, and that's pretty well grown ahead.
Oh, it's all bossy buck lawn. The
Yes,
bossy buck lawn
yeah.
is basically shaded out all
Yeah.
the native ferns.
Yes, I mean, it's unfortunate
I used
because,
to try to keep it down, it's
Yeah.
just, you just can't.
and people used to cut around the end of the
Right.
picnic table, and I don't think they do that as much. I think they
Right.
are doing what we wanted them to do, which is like stay uphill, but it's
On the
that,
high line, yeah.
but it's that eroded spot where they're going, which I guess is good and bad. Us, the people in the water are in the same spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot coming off the parking lot there.
I was thinking the middle picnic table would be a nice place for a bench. Because I'm thinking that area there, we could narrow the trails
Yeah.
with more planting and less wood chips
Mhm.
in that area, but a bench would be perfect for there. Not a table, because
The
people
middle.
leave trash there. But that
The
would
middle
be,
spot.
the
Yeah.
middle spot, that'd be a good bench. Because it doesn't have to be a wide trail. I think, because my focus would be on, like, reducing the amount of wood chips we have to put down.
Yeah. I guess, well, that is a narrow spot there. And where the bench is located pushes people back around that back side of the bench
Mm.
for the table to access. So if you wanted to sit looking at the falls, you're having to walk off of the trail and around.
So if you put a bench, you can narrow the trail. You know, add on to what we've already done with the sod there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it only those two, or is there still a third one, like,
The third one further up.
that you can get to from the
Yeah.
accessible parking spot?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That one, I guess, should probably stay, have like
Yeah,
a
that's a
destination.
handicap park,
Yeah.
handicap.
So I guess where,
What do we do with the new bench?
I think we should, I think we should unleash the second one and just see what happens. Unchain it, let it free, let it go free. It is chained, which is kind of funny, I don't know.
well, just watching, because, well, I guess we can keep on with the original plan, which was to not replace them as they wear out.
Of course, now we get that brand new one in.
Yeah, that's a.
Unless we carry
that
that
goes
up and
to upper.
replace the first one.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess the moving it in order to start doing replanting makes sense, but if we're like thinking of areas that are wide enough where you could have space for a table where it's not pushing out a trail, that middle table, like, I mean, that's a good suggestion. I mean, I was in my wildest trying to fantasy here, but just having some rail or something to just direct people to block off access to that thing, combined with having a place to lock a bike up, or to like just have a bike so you're not having to walk into the brush on the side of the road.
Where were you thinking?
Well, there's nowhere to put a bike really. Like if you ride your bike there and cars are parked tied to the rail fence in the parking area, you're either on the other side of that or walking uphill along the fence there. So trying to think of ways of combining barriers with functional,
Right.
like even like a parking barrier near the porta potty access, just somewhere where you could know you could put your bike.
Mhm.
I don't think I'd encourage them to bring it down onto the paths too much, because that might imply that it's okay to ride your bike at the falls, which I haven't really seen anybody do. But
It would be cool if potentially, like, I guess, take a spot away and just put a bike rack in one of the parking spots in the parking lot. If
Oh.
we're,
they'll probably just park there, unless somebody has their bike there, yeah.
I mean, but if you had like a giant metal bike thing.
Right.
Like, hey, we want you to come on 2 wheels instead of 4.
Mhm. That's a good point.
Right. I'm just thinking of like combining, blocking parking access. So if there was something to block parking from the upper end of that I mean, I guess, well, just combining parking barriers with something that's more multi-use.
Yeah.
So like where those boulders are on the corner of Valley Cross,
Right.
something like that.
Mm,
Rather than having the boulders there, it could just be a rail.
yeah.
That'd be easy to just, yeah.
Yeah, and
You
there's
don't have to-
paths, so you could walk down the paths from your
Yeah.
bike.
Right, you know, it's a good spot to have the bikes.
Yeah. Yeah, so not something closer to the water, but just something
Mhm.
that is
Up on the road.
in the parking area
Mhm.
that would encourage more, because, it's,
I like the idea of encouraging bicyclists rather than cars. That's a good idea.
yeah, so I like biking there, or to there, and,
There's nowhere for you to leave your bike to go for a little.
or just like in my mind knowing like, oh, this is a terrible place to put because I'm
Yeah.
now having to trample over something, or because I don't want to put it,
I bring mine, I bring mine
or,
down the path.
yeah, or just walking
tuck
it
it away.
down, yeah,
Yeah, because if you're swimming and your bike's there, it's pretty exposed.
Mm,
yeah.
You know, if someone's really want to take your bike,
yeah.
running out of the water in
Mhm.
shorts.
Yeah.
You need to get your bike from 15 years ago that's all beat up.
Yeah.
Put that one
Your
there.
beater bike.
Yes.
So I think, I like that idea of it, and I think, I mean,
True.
if it's the boulder spot or another,
Mhm.
but boulder seems a little
It's nice to replace one
out of place.
thing with something useful, like you said.
Yeah.
Right, so that's what I was thinking, if working with the idea of, we're not furnishing, like, if something is seen as being furnishing, or, like, it needs to be functional, and if it can be multifunctional, which discourages parking and encourages, biking.
Sounds kind of like maybe we should, maybe not on the level that Ken was thinking of, because Ken was talking about sort of on the Prospect Farms management plan, like writing a Jackson Falls management plan, but something more akin to when we had the action list that the select board had signed off on the action list, and we could pick off over time. So if all these things went into a new action list, like we kind of flushed it out over the winter, then we could take one thing to the select board rather than lots of little things over time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because I presume all of these things we would need to, because they're nothing that we've just brought to the select board before, we would need to get approval of.
All this stuff.
I guess to tie into that, I was looking, it's been almost 10 years since I'm trying to remember who prepared it, if it was the
Yes.
soil,
Greg Howard.
yeah, so that report was almost 10 years ago. And you were, I mean, how do you feel we've met those goals, or like
Well, I
in
think-
terms of
I
progress?
think if you were to have Greg Howard come out there again, he'd be pretty impressed, just because of the planting that we've done, the restrictions on parking, the shutting down the, extra trails, putting in the stairs, the fence. There's been a lot that's been going on there.
Yeah. I feel like
Positively.
I feel like the kiosk was the last big thing that was on the original list. And I forget, there was like the original report, and then there was like a follow-up one. And I think signage was like the last big thing on like directing people on how to use it. And I feel like the slowness there was more visual. People not wanting signs everywhere.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to look at those items, see if we've actually.
Yeah, I think we have. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And because that's still on the website, right? We can I think it's on the town website.
It's in the commission's Google Drive, which
Yeah.
is where I saw it,
Yeah.
read through it.
Because I know Greg went back a few years later and he was like, wow, it must have been after we'd done one planting or something like that. And we closed down and we put some chips
the
down.
wood chips and the wood
Yeah.
chips of it, time to
Yeah,
really.
we did some plantings of, saplings and that sort of thing. Not sure what took, hard to tell now.
Oh, it's, yeah,
So,
shaded it, been pretty good.
mm.
Okay.
Which wood chips.
Wood chips, Workday.
Yeah, Ryman said he's working real close by shortly, so you can do the wood chips.
Well, that'd be cool, yeah.
Let's just mark our locations or discuss it.
So I think,
You might have a lot.
okay, well,
It's very close
the work,
at the castle.
okay,
Oh, excellent.
the,
You should know.
Just an extra long tube.
so I would say up high near the porta potty, just, although
Maybe 2 locations?
there are uphill of the handicap access on the shoulder of the road, but I don't know how close he could get
Right.
without it being onto the pavement
State road,
and
yeah.
or blocking the,
That's where they've always put them before. But they were, they're on the grass, there's grass
Yeah.
there, and they can stay there and not be in anybody's way. So he knows probably where to put them. If
okay.
you don't mind them being on the grass.
Yeah, because they can go either like uphill or downhill. I think there've been both over the years of that handicap access path.
I think the first year first year that I helped
Yeah,
spread the
block.
chips was blocking the
Yeah.
emergency access, so anywhere other than there.
I
Right.
think they had it down that it could go to the side. So if you had your back to the river and you're looking at the handicap access was on the left-hand side. That's where it's been the last
Yeah,
couple of times. We had a
The
dirt
lower.
pile there.
it's been that lower spot that's kind of broad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we did, no, we went up
We
again.
did the upper,
Yeah, we did the upper
on
one
the
again,
right
too.
side there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
well,
so he's gonna be right there. I mean, if we want 2 loads, we could have one.
It would be
Like
nice to have the
porta
one
potty.
that, to bring it down. I would like that.
Downhill a little bit,
Yeah, I mean, it
yeah.
seems like if we can get a load up at the porta potty, and we can get one uphill of the handicap.
okay.
But I really was thinking that we need to see if we can't consider maybe some more plantings to reduce the size of those, of the, the amount of wood chips we spread.
Hmm.
So in other words, down where the handicap parking area is, it's a big open area. It doesn't need to be like that.
Right.
Because the narrower trails are actually more enjoyable, I think. But then you just be
Choking down that,
yeah, making it narrower, not all the way around, but I could definitely draw a line as to what I would do. The whole thing is reducing the chips, making the, shutting off trails.
Certainly.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, the more natural it looks, the better, and the less wood chips.
And the narrow trails are really, because the nicest stretch is really between the handicap part and going up from there, because it's narrow. And it's just kind of, it's pleasant,
There's no choice.
It's a trail,
It's got a hill and a river.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's also probably where they're gonna wash away the most.
Mm.
That little
Alright.
bend right there.
well, if he can give us a heads up, I can spend a few evenings working with that mat material.
Well, let us know if you want some help,
Yeah, I will.
Mm.
I'm just thinking, I don't know if making a big production out of it, or,
Means you need the wood chips for the material.
I don't want to leave, because it's 3 inches thick and it's an open plastic lath, so it'll block access if
Right.
it's not filled
Mhm.
and covered.
Right,
And to install it, we'd probably need to rake off down to the as much as we can, so we can get the lath as flat as possible, and then kind of stake it and then fill it.
okay.
And I think we were just gonna do like a 4-foot shot from the parking section
Mhm.
down to the table.
Right,
And just putting wood chips in there? Is that what we decided?
so
Thank-
stake it and fill it with wood chips and all around it, everything.
I think as the initial
I agree.
plan,
Yeah.
without getting into,
Messing with different aggregates or soils or.
right,
No, I agree. I think it's a good way to go. You can always add, but you can't remove it.
right.
And it will break, it's gonna break down.
Right, and I like the idea. I've had all summer to think about, like, well, is this actually going to work? like, because as a handicap access solution, because there's still gonna be wood chips on top of the lath material.
Mm.
So I don't know how firm of a foundation it will
Yeah,
Or make
provide.
it actually harder in some way, make it steeper, I don't know.
No. I just think it'll keep it from breaking down as fast.
Are the openings like cells or are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the wheelchairs would be able to get a grip on that, I would think. Be a harder surface, right? That's the idea.
Well, they just compress, there's less for them to compress
Are they,
effectively.
and so the plastic's going to be exposed, I'm assuming, right?
Well, that's where I was thinking that it may not be the ideal material, wood chips may not be the ideal material for this thing, because they use this for reinforcing parking, like driveway structures. So when they fill it with gravel, it keeps the gravel from getting smushed out as you drive over it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're putting a layer of gravel over the top of that.
Cells, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so this is wood chips on top of the wood chips in the cells, and I don't know if that would make it easier to roll over. You get a thicker base
Mhm.
that's going to wear better, but I don't know how it's going to be for rolling.
Mm,
And I guess that's why we're just doing a small
I
test
guess we'll
section.
find out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I guess we can allocate some time whenever he can get those
Yeah.
out.
He said real soon, so
Okay.
if we know a date that we need to have them there by, that's,
I'd also I've been also trying to think about how we could reinforce the kiosk without,
without another arm effectively.
right, or just like either knee braces on the backside pinned down.
I think that's what it needs, man. I think it needs to be like a tripod.
Okay.
I think that's the easiest way. Have you seen it, Tom?
Is it fluffing?
Yeah, I mean, the footing is small and the bracket's big.
It's just, it's got that kind, it's a big sail, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it just needs something to kind of check that movement.
Yeah.
I think in the end, if it's triangulated, it's not gonna go anywhere.
Okay. Would you just have one, or would you want?
Well, that's a good point. I guess I'll have to go stand there again and just look exactly at the condition, but
It's funny, I looked at it but didn't analyze the structure. Is it actually on concrete
Mhm.
footings? or
Yeah.
is it-
yeah, there's small piers,
Yeah,
but it's
That are
big.
pinned to the slab,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
so
So
it's
it-
like it's whether it's gonna hinge on whatever
It-
piece of
it's-
metal.
Yeah.
It's
connects
hinging,
it.
you know,
Yeah.
it's stable, but you can
Yeah,
create,
yeah,
and you just
Yeah.
you can't have it be
Do you think
any.
it's because it's too big, or what do you think?
No, it's just the
It's a
connection,
combination.
Mm.
because you couldn't bury like a solid post
Mhm.
deep enough. So there's the concrete and the wood, and then the metal connector is just a flex point.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's,
So you're gonna put like a tripod behind it?
Yeah,
well, some sort of a brace, triangulated.
And then- yeah, and then pin it back down into the slab, or slab,
Yeah.
ledge.
Ledge.
yeah. The big natural slab.
Yeah. It just has the risk of creating some movement, and once it does, it could start to gain momentum. So if you can just make it so it can't
Working on for
wiggle,
how many years?
Yeah, yeah.
eliminate the wiggle
Yeah.
now,
Mhm.
it should be good.
Okay,
Yeah, that sounds good. I was wondering if that's why the bigger kiosks that seem like they don't need to have a roof to cover the kiosk, but they effectively have 4 legs in the front and the back, if that's why it is on that way, just so they don't blow over.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Because you make like a little house instead of
yeah,
something in one planes.
big lever.
right, yeah.
And if you see them when they're done, it's usually a really big, almost like a tenon, a steel tenon that comes up, and the leg is cut to receive it, and it's bolted. So there's a big attachment point there. It's probably a third the length of the.
Is it a hardware thing that we could swap out, or?
We should just go look at it.
Okay,
I don't want. I think it's good. We can simplify it.
okay. Well, when we're down there,
I'll look at it again and just see if it makes sense to do 2 or 1 legs, or if there's another way. But
Yeah, I was just concerned about like, well, we can't put anything out front because then it's going to impede the pathway and.
no, it would definitely be towards the back, as I remember. It doesn't have to just go into the wooded area. Yeah,
That seems easy.
yeah. It wouldn't take much. Triangles are amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Any other Jackson Falls business
Well, just curious as to whether or not people would be up for doing any more
planting?
planting to reduce the wood chips. Bob Santoro said he'd be off again. But I don't know if we have money left in our fund, and the other thing I was thinking too is maybe we could do, if people were up for it, maybe we could get the loan and get that spread, and then maybe in the spring get the sod and put it down,
I don't think you want to put soils without,
something like that.
never put down a soil without something on top of it.
Well, I was also thinking about using this lath material as a bedding, something to build in bedding. So that would be an increased erosion resistance. That would make it less prone to washing out if
Mhm.
there was infiltrated with water.
Right.
Something to think about. We have plenty of, I was speaking with the trustees of the trust funds about that, and we have, what were we running for the last planting? Was it around 2 or 3?
I think it was around 2 or so.
Okay, I mean, we have plenty in there. I was checking with them to see about covering cost of signs
Right.
for,
Because it's something like I thought we could only use the interest on the principal.
Yes.
Okay.
we have, it's not a huge amount, but it's more than enough to cover another planting. And if that were to happen, that would, I mean, that would need to happen before October.
Because that's the fiscal year.
No, I mean, I think in terms
I'm
of,
just in terms of frost or,
Right.
Yeah, give me the plan to start
yeah,
before it since they're all winter.
Because it worked really well last year to do the fall planting, I think. But then you didn't have to worry about watering. It really made sense. It worked out.
I mean, you're talking about the blue bit, the,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, not seedling, not saplings and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it so much matters with that.
Well, it does in terms of watering.
Yeah, oh, I just mean in terms of if you can plant in late September or something like
Yeah,
that,
that's
it'll
nice.
be fine. I don't have much, I mean, I'm not speaking for time to offer. I don't have that much time to
Right.
offer,
So maybe it's a next year project.
but if other people do.
Or, yeah, or other volunteers.
Yeah,
Or both.
yeah,
I feel like late October is currently where I see the next like free time.
Yeah.
Maybe even November, for me personally, but.
So it might be a next year project then.
yeah, I feel like if I had time, extra time, I would go up to Prospect and work on the brush or anything has to be dealt with up there.
yeah, Ken has talked several times about getting Jackson Ski Touring to do that work,
Just fork it, I mean, yeah, that'd be awesome.
but I don't think we should depend on that, or that is a thing going forward that the town should ask for, because they have a 5-year, their lease on the town property is 5 years, and it will be coming up at some point. That may be a thing that the town can ask in exchange, the winter, summer maintenance swap. But
Yeah. I mean, I do see that the idea of doing it on the same day could be good, even if it's 2 group of volunteers. I know they normally do like the whole, from the Summit Wildcat down, so they're not just right there in Prospect Farm when they have their big volunteer day, but if we had the lower down volunteer day of town people separate from the ski touring pool of volunteers. it
Right,
could
and that's
be kind of a bigger, like, people talk about it, get more volunteers kind of
Yeah.
thing.
exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
I changed the subject from the falls, but
It's okay.
That reminds me, I still have the Prospect Farm replacement trail sign sitting in my house.
Hmm.
That the AMC sign maker made last winter.
Nice.
That I feel bolt to a tree.
Let's go hike up there.
It's the one that says Hall's Ledge that's like right by the parking lot.
Okay. So, I guess we could move the idea of another planting to our October meeting, or have it as a fall thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Or make a plan, like maybe incorporating that lower area.
Be nice to go, like when we do our chips day, to
Yeah.
move chips, I could show you what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Gray's Inn.
I don't, I've been on it a bunch, but
Okay.
it's still there. All the trails are.
But a lot of people go up there, by the way, being out in the garden, they're
Yeah,
going by
it's-
all the time.
It's a nice,
Yeah.
Bring their dogs, bring their kids, people park over there and come out with their families, and they're only up there for like 10, 15 minutes,
Yeah.
but it gets a lot of use,
yeah,
surprisingly.
it does.
That's cool.
It's kind of fun being over there and just seeing all the action.
It's a short amount of time. I guess you can get to like that view pretty quickly.
It's what,
You can get to like the view pretty
Mhm.
quickly.
But they just, I think a lot of people just do the orchard
Where they do the storybook.
back down.
yeah.
Yeah.
They do the storybook, but some people go up and they do the
The-
loop.
The potential for, you could easily put in 2 or 3 just really nice meandering trails
Mhm.
I've walked.
Yeah, for families,
They've been busy.
it's really funny, they just pull up here, park, kids pile out, and they go up there and come
Yeah.
back like 10, 15 minutes later, release their route.
All right, so nothing there.
Community garden. The final or the total that I have, that Julie, I guess the last we talked for the last invoice was 2,890 year-to-date total had been expended on the community garden, but I don't know if that incorporated the last invoice from Bob for the watering system. This was on the 20th of July.
Let me see, because I think we did the irrigation after that. So Bob's numbers were like $565 more, I think, something like that. So I'm not sure. I'd have to look at Julie's invoices,
Okay.
because I thought that the last, for the irrigation, it was like 560 something.
That's the one you sent.
That's the one,
That you sent to everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
What does that put it up to? Did anyone add?
it's what?
What's that total at?
If it's on top of it, it would be like 3,400 roughly, give or take. I don't know exactly, but basically 2,900 plus 500.
Yeah.
So 2,000 was from the grant, and then 1,400 would be from us.
But there's no further expenses coming in for that.
And we could also apply some of the funds that are being held, that we got from the rental, blowout rentals.
Do you anticipate that there would be any in the spring, would you want to hold on to those funds to take care of any spring necessities that?
We could, but, I'll be collecting more lot rents then too,
Okay.
so.
I guess it's just trying to figure out the best way to go out, because so far we've authorized to pay out of the money market account anything above that initial 2,000. And I don't think that there's anything hanging.
Well, Bob has to be, he has to be paid, so that's the only thing that's hanging. He has to be paid.
So how do people who have to do email for a job keep things organized?
It's nasty, I have all these, boxes with people's names on them, and I never seem to put them away. So, right now I have about 400 emails in my inbox, and I'm struggling mightily to keep them down. Because I don't put things away until I'm finished with it, that's the problem. But you
I
make
need to get to the
boxes.
secretary.
You make boxes, and you put things away. That's what I do.
Okay.
So besides Bob, the other money that's above the 2,000, has the town, have those bills been paid? Or has the town been paying them as they come?
Yeah, so,
Okay,
so basically Julie's paid $2,800. That's what it
Out of
is.
the money market account?
Yeah, no, 2,000 out of the grant, 800
Right.
out of the money market, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, another 600 or so. So,
and we would need to separately authorize the 600, is that,
right.
or whatever the bill is for the
Or,
irrigation
or we
system?
could ask them, have them apply the box rent to that, too. So,
But that doesn't equal.
no, it would just reduce the amount
Yeah.
that the Conservation Commission would pay. The one thing I did kind of want to do this year was I'm having Ann Bennett give a talk on cover cropping the
Mm.
raised beds. And I think part of that is getting like a seed mix from High Mowing, somebody was telling me that.
Yeah, I mean, you can get it at Paris Farmers. Some, depends what Ken recommends you
Yeah.
use, but Paris Farmers would have it too. Most
So I think,
likely,
yeah.
I mean, or if you said to Ann,
Yeah.
can you
expensive
suggest
is that?
something
Yeah,
for a spot that small?
yeah, 7 spots that small.
Yeah,
They're
I mean,
4 by
you could-
16.
In some, you could be talking dollars,
yeah,
or you could be talking $20 possibly.
Yeah.
yeah, it's not
So,
Right.
super lot.
that's
And
what-
then you'll pay more in shipping
Yeah.
than you need
yeah,
for the seed to do that.
yeah. So I might like to hold back like 50
Like
bucks
it's
for
just
that.
probably gonna be like winter rye or
Yeah,
something
It's
like
like
that.
a mix of
which
a
is-
bunch of different things, I think that's the idea, but I'm not
You
sure.
Could be, but if you're trying to make it affordable, you could just plant winter rye. It
Yeah.
would cost about
I'd
$1.
rather not just do winter rye. Winter rye's a pain, do you have to turn the winter rye? It survives, doesn't it?
I think you do.
Yeah, you just plant it, comes up like grass, and the frost doesn't kill it. So in the spring, it stays bright green and grows.
Right.
And then it never gets the seed, so it can't regerminate
So
itself.
do you turn it or do you just plant through it?
You can do both. You could use it as compost. You could pull it and compost it, or you could turn it into your soil.
Okay.
But
Mm.
yeah,
Okay, so it never goes to seed.
I mean, there's other things, but that's kind of the classic
Mhm.
way to do it.
Trying to find that.
You could buy what she recommends in bulk and have it for the following year, as long as it doesn't,
Get eaten,
yeah, or
spoil,
spoil, or just loses its germination.
right, so you're better off getting one just for a year.
Yeah, I mean, I think if your winter rye would do the trick,
Mhm.
you could add something to it as well.
Yeah.
But
Is the idea after this year, it's the garden self-sustains, I forget, from the
Yes.
fees? Okay.
Yeah, so basically, we collect the lot rent, it's $50 per lot.
Yeah.
And we have 6 of them, so it's $300. And then the library gets theirs for free. So that's,
That's cool.
that's enough to, to sustain it, I think.
It looks really nice.
Oh, thanks. It's not bad considering we had a late start and it was so dry.
yeah, it was.
We couldn't figure out why things weren't growing and finally it's like, oh, I need peat moss. So Kathy Bear helped us figure that out. That's really nice people, a lot of people reached out. People reached out to like donate tomato cages, and Kathy Bear reached out to say, hey, you want to, come see my beds and
Mhm.
help us with our problems. And Anne said she'd be willing to give us a talk, so it's nice.
It is cool.
Did Bob submit his quote or his invoice to the town? Because I just
I
don't,
think he did, yes, because,
because I'm just trying to find it and I
yeah,
can't.
there were some, he submitted to the town because he had some invoices that were mixed, and he had to take things off so that they wouldn't add those to his bill. So, I think he did submit everything.
I'm sure if you search for Pam too, right, because she had forwarded it to our group separately, from however you get them, because you had sent the invoice to us all.
So,
I'm trying to,
I don't know if, it may be that Bob sent some only to me as opposed to the town, no, I don't remember. Because, you know, he did the gate too, so there were materials on that, I think maybe that's what I'm thinking of. So he may not have sent the other stuff to the town. Because I may not have sent it to the town, because I was waiting for people to approve it before we sent it to the town, so that might be it.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so Bob did the gate too, which was pretty cool.
So yeah, three, he's,
Just waiting for the first bear to put his paw up on it though. Nobody used bone meal. They've already used bone meal and I go, God.
What's wrong? What was the bone meal thing?
Oh, bears,
Oh,
raccoons.
yeah. Raccoons like it, yeah.
They'll go right through it, yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking with Susan across the way. She has a bear, electric solar fence, bear proof, but she also had raspberry canes inside her. In her raised bed. So I think if you stay away from fruit.
This is what Pam sent to us. 500 and...
where was that?
I just searched for Pam in my email.
I don't have my phone on me, it's too big to carry.
I've got,
And it's 500.
400 coming
got
out.
400 from.
Yeah. It was,
What?
I did it by date.
How much was it?
563 and 66 cents.
Close, yes.
And it came on August 11th. It's called Summary for Jackson Community Garden. It's the attachment. It was the... Yeah, the materials were 2 existing invoices, it looks like. And then some hose parts.
And then some labor for one of Bob's employees worked down there.
Yes, 4 hours on one of his employees, and he was free.
Oh my gosh, that's not showing up. So, I guess we hear,
Do you want the itemized? Well, I don't know what the other... So the materials were 2 existing invoices, which I don't know what those materials were.
those were fenced, so those came through, and I believe those have been paid.
Okay.
So this was just the add-on bit. In other words, the invoices were the ones that have already been paid and then the additional stuff. I'm sorry, I should have printed this stuff out, I didn't think of it. I did think of it, but I forgot it.
So he has an outstanding invoice for 563.66.
So it appears to be.
Okay.
And that's for materials and his employees' labor, but not him.
Okay. So I guess we just need a motion to pay for that out of the conservation money market.
Make a motion to pay for the conservation money market.
Second.
Yeah, understand.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? No? Okay. So I'll let Julie know that that can get paid.
And I should probably make sure it goes to Julie, so she sees it.
I've seen this invoice, I just don't know why it's
Okay.
not coming up, so,
Okay. So I'll make a note of getting the bill to Julie then,
yeah,
so she sees it. And then you can let her know it's okay to do.
yes,
Okay.
okay. And then that, we're all set there.
Okay. Excellent.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, I got, yeah, so. When are you gonna be closing the garden down? Or do you have something planned for the end of the year, or?
We did our potluck, but I guess we didn't get it organized enough to open it up to everybody. Would you guys have been interested? Well, we have, so the raised bed, closing up the bed, top of the damn bed is gonna be, I think next Thursday, at
Okay.
like 5:30, if anybody's interested. The closing it, yeah, so maybe after that I'll be able to figure out when we're gonna close it up,
Okay.
do an end of the year type of thing.
Yeah.
Are you going to leave the fencing up over the winter? Okay. Okay.
Any reason I should take it down? It shouldn't be anybody's way, that's why it's over there. So it's out of the way of the Jackson ski touring. Shouldn't be a big deal. I don't think. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Were they, I was just noticing there was rocks in some of the corner posts, was that?
That's what was excavated when they dug holes. for the
Okay,
fencing.
so they're not solving a problem, they were just getting moved?
This is what happens when you dig a hole over it. You dig a hole, you pull rocks out.
Okay.
Big rocks,
Yeah.
little rocks, medium rocks, but, because they have a controlled thing for the watering system that's underground. Needs some tweaks to it because it keeps filling up with water, but that's where they pull a lot of the big rocks out.
Okay.
And so if you dug a hole for a fence post, you'll pull a lot of rocks out.
All right. I was just curious if they had toppled or needed some reinforcement or, okay.
Just gotta figure out what to do with the rocks.
Okay. Wildcat River, nothing new. We did receive communication from John Fischera about the manure pile from the stables, and he will be relocating it away from Great Brook.
So has anybody seen if anything's been done to that effect?
It has been scraped clean,
Oh, excellent.
so,
Moved pile is good.
yeah. So, thank you, John.
Yeah.
Conservation easement letters will be going out this week.
Mhm.
I don't think there's anything new. Is there, other than the individual reporters filing, does the chair need to do anything, additional communication with SPNF or?
No, yeah, as long as people fill out their things.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the one that gets the email if we don't.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hurting the cats. And I forget, did we send letters to the not Spiniff ones? I forgot about all the details. Because the town of Jackson owns a couple of conservation easements that are not,
Yeah.
don't involve Spiniff.
Floyd,
yeah.
Is it just that one?
I don't know, there might be another one, but
Yeah,
that's the one I do,
yeah.
and she's the town.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. There was no wetlands,
No, I haven't heard anything.
and I haven't heard any other follow-up about that, so no new business. Any comment? Okay. That wraps it up. Is there a motion to adjourn? Oh, actually, before we adjourn, I'm sorry. I keep on remembering forgetting to do this, but next month, our meeting will be on the 3rd. Is that, I don't believe that's any holiday or,
October?
yeah. Is that gonna work for everyone?
Yeah, Columbus Day isn't until
The
the
10th?
10th,
Yeah.
that's
Sounds good.
We're out of town that weekend, but I'm back, I think Monday, so as good as any other day.
Yeah.
Okay, now, close
All
it
right,
out.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? No? All right, thank you. Good meeting.